Welcome to the Real Estate Investing Club. This is the place everyday real estate investors gather to share their best stories, biggest insights, and favorite tactics to grow a portfolio of cash-flowing properties in today's market. Here's your host, Gabe Peterson.
All right. Welcome back to another episode of the Real Estate Investing Club. I hope you guys are having a good day. I hope you're staying warm. This is the first, for all you guys on YouTube, this is the first podcast or first episode that I'm wearing my my puffer jacket. It is cold up here in Seattle. We had a little bit of a windstorm. I personally did not get affected, but I am freezing my buns off. So we're definitely into winter, but I'm excited about it because Thanksgiving is next week. We're flying down to California and I get some sun. So no harm there. It's a good day for a second reason because we got Dave Seymour with us on the podcast. Dave is in multifamily. They have over 1,600 units under management. They do repositioning. They do ground up development. So there's a lot of experience to go into here. Dave, thanks for hopping on the show.
Hey, man. Thanks for having me. Yeah, the puffer jacket kind of threw me off for a little while. I was like, I wonder if we lose that imaginary background if there's like penguins and crap running around behind. But
that's right.
Basically, you just didn't turn the heat on, huh? I got
there
you.
You go. Yeah, I'm kind of a wuss when it comes to cold. I mean, we live in Seattle. You'd think I wouldn't be, but I am. Anyways, I told you before we get on here, we always like starting with stories and hearing how people got to where they are. I know you got a good one. You have a lot of experience in real estate. So why don't you take us to the beginning of your story and tell us how you got here?
Yeah, for sure. Let's see if we can make this one concise. I like the idea of a shortened version. You know what I mean? Otherwise, I get to talk about my favorite subject, which is me. I'm an immigrant to the States. I came over from England. I was 20 years old. I messed around for a long time trying to figure out what the hell I wanted to be when I grew up. And I landed, still to this day, what I consider to be a dream job was the fire department. Moved around a little bit. I was a firefighter and a paramedic for 16 years in a city called Lynn, Massachusetts, just north of Boston. And if you're familiar with the firehouse, the guys are always working on their days off, right? And that was my first chance to get some splinters in my hands. And
it's funny you say that because I remember when I was like just getting started, I would go to like RIAs, like meetups. And every single one that I went to, there was at least 2 or 3 firefighters there. And I thought that was funny. I was like, are firefighters loaded? Like, why are they all like investing in real estate? But
you know what it is? It's kind of it's a mindset piece right there. I don't know about other parts of the country, but in the Northeast, the union mentality of the fire department, AFL-CIO, is ingrained. I mean, it's hardcore. And I loved it at the beginning. I really did. Let me back it up. I loved the job. I love the camaraderie. I love the chaos of burning buildings. I love the chaos of paramedicine and making sure you make the right choice. Otherwise, grandpa's going upstairs, to meet St. Pete with or without your permission. It's like I like that intensity. But what I didn't resonate with was, my brothers in the firehouse are going to get pissed, but it is what it is. The laziness of it, the entitlement. Because I'm a union individual, I get what I get, not because of my performance or my skill set. I get it because of a bargaining agreement. And over time, that didn't sit right with me. So I'm in the firehouse. Don't get me wrong. Like I said, I loved it, but I also brought with me some financial illiteracy from England, right? Growing up in England, I was taught to trade time for money, and that was the only way to go. So when I didn't have enough money, I was trading more and more time. I had like 3 or 4 full-time jobs at one point. And I'm not exaggerating. Dude, I was up to about 120 hours a week between 3 jobs. Fire department, construction, and retail security. I was stop and shop police. Pot roast police. I used to call it. I got stories, man. You don't have enough time. But anyway, working construction on the outside, that was my first taste of the truth of sticks and bricks, the reality of real estate. And it was a defining moment for me. I'm on an auger with 3 South American gentlemen, and I'm trying to dig down to the frost line in Boston in January because I got to put in a deck to make some money. And it's not easy to get through the frost and the frozen dirt. It was comical. We're all spinning around on this freaking auger. But anyway, car pulls up, and there was 1 woman and 2 guys get out of this car, and it was a nice car. Can't remember what it was, but it was a lot nicer than the pickup truck that I was driving. And I said to one of the boys, I said, who's that? And he goes, those are the investors. They own the house. I go, investors? What the heck is that? He goes, well, they buy the house and then we fix them up and they sell them and make some money. I'm like, I like that idea. Like it was a new concept to me. I'd
I'm on
seen
the wrong side of
big,
this deal.
right. I'm on the wrong side of the auger. Like I'd seen the TV shows, but I didn't believe they were real. Right. Anyway, I get talking with these investors, and between you, me, and the lamppost gate, they weren't that smart. They really weren't. I was expecting, Harvard degree type language, and I wasn't getting it. And that sowed the seed for me. Fast forward a few years later, I was long story short, I had financial challenges due to financial illiteracy. I'm losing my house. Stuff just ain't going right. And I'm praying like a mother to my God. And I'm like, come on, dude, please help me out. What am I supposed to do? And a commercial came on the radio, Teach Me Foreclosure, a free 1.5 hour seminar coming to your neck of the woods. And it's like, ask and you shall receive. So I go running home to my bride. I'm like, hon, I think we got this figured out. I'm going to be a real estate investor. She looked at me like I was a lunatic.
With what money?
I go to an event, right? I go to an event. Look, I was in the game right after the financial crisis, and people they would ask you, what do you do? I'd say I'm a real estate investor. Like, oof, I'm a real estate investor. Like I had to keep on saying it so it fit. And they'd say, oh, I'm sorry. They treat you like you were cancerous. But the very first deal I did after learning what I learned in the seminar industry, because I spent money I didn't have on education, knowing that I was going to recuperate it. And the first deal I ever did was a wholesale transaction. I controlled the bank-owned property with a contract. I sold the contract to another investor, and I made $5,000.
Man, I almost said, did you make $5,000? Because that is the exact amount that I feel number everybody makes on their first deal. That's how much I made on my first
I've still got
wholesale.
a copy of the check somewhere. Like I want to, I called it a shut up check. And it was the check that I showed everybody who said I wasn't going to. You're a firefighter. You're a construction worker. What do you mean you're an investor? And I hold that check up and I go, shut up. Look at that.
You made the money.
Because here's the swift. Here's the change in the brain, right? Human beings by nature, I think we all want progress, right? We all want to be good providers for our families, effective in our communities, our church. We all want those things. But the education of the past was a resistance to the progress of the future, right? And once I got that check, and I can spend more than that on a good dinner with a few friends now, right? But when I got that check, it changed something. Because once I did something, there was nobody who ever could tell me again that I couldn't, number one. And number two, well, if I can do it once,
I can do it again.
Maybe.
It is I kind of had the same experience, and it is pretty not enlightening, but freeing, I guess, to see actual results. When you first decide, I'm going to do a real estate, I'm going to get into it, I'm going to make some money. You don't believe it until you actually see that check in your hands. You don't think that you can do it. You don't think it's possible. But once you get those results, that's when the light bulb hits and you're like, okay, this can work. I can do this. And then, as they say, the rest is history. But
I stepped out of the attorney's office with that check and I'm like, OMG, is it real? Is it legal? Like I knew it was legal, but
running to the bank hoping they check it.
I expected the big black sedans to come pulling up. I stepped out of the attorney's office, but it lighted up. It lit a fire in me that has not gone out since. It just put me on a trajectory. So that's how I started.
Nice. No, I love it.
Yeah.
So I'm sure, from that first wholesale check, it has been a long up and down journey. You guys have 1,600 units now. And to get from there to here is, it's a struggle. It's a journey. So what were, I know we only have 20 minutes, so we can't go into every single detail, but I want to know kind of the inflection points. That first check, that was one of them for you. It showed you that it was possible to make money in real estate. It showed you that you could do it, that you can make real estate work for you. So give me kind of a highlight of your career since then to the 1,600 units. What were the next inflection points that showed you could get to the next level?
Yeah, great question, brother. So look, I'll tell you this as I tell anybody who asks anything along that line of thinking. We're not in real estate. We're not in the real estate business, brother. We're in the people business. And the people that have come into my journey over the years have been the real game changers, right? mentors early on, business partners early on, finding what my true value component is in any transaction, and then doubling down and tripling down on the gifts that God gave me. And I'm blessed. I think it's maybe a little bit of a gift of the gab, right? Being able to make people feel comfortable, to be able to negotiate from a place of caring as well as a place of strength. And I just grew all of those skill sets. I read whatever I could that could further my education, and those are all inflection points. So when I went into a rehab, like, I knew how to work with the guys on the job. I've bought more favors with 6 pizzas and a couple of 2-liter bottles of Coke than I ever did with, here's another 25 cents an hour in your paycheck, right? I learned that it's nice to be important, but it's more important to be nice. I learned that whoever you meet on the way up, I promise you're going to meet them on the way down. So having that feeling around people first and profit second hasn't hurt me. Now, could I have made a lot more money along the way? Absolutely, I could.
Yeah.
But the people that got in my wake and the wake of the people that I got in is what really grew the business. It took me from, that first wholesale deal to doing a couple of rehab deals, and making 40,000, 50,000. And from there, we got recognized by a TV show, and we do Flipping Boston on the A&E network. And now I'm no longer just watching the flipping shows. I'm in the flipping shows. I'm the guy. And that puts me on a national platform. That puts me on Squawk Box with Joe Kiernan and Becky Quick. That puts me on CNBC and NBC. That puts me on, stages and seminar worlds with Shark Tank guys. And like my world just got so much bigger. And as a result of that, I could serve more people. So to go full circle on it, the inflection points were the growth and the belief in the mindset that I can do more, be more, give more. And then to be able to attract the right people along the way, business partners, funders, contractors. I'm only as good as the people that that surrounded me. And one of my favorite isms or thought processes, guy said to me, Dave, if you're the smartest person in the room, kid, you're in the wrong room. And I've never, ever forgotten that. Like, I always want to elevate. So that's taken me today into, entitlement work, ground up development work. I've got a team that is on the ground in Southwest Florida 24/7, building units, managing units, helping to put as big of a dent as we can in the multifamily need. We target on what they call workforce housing, which isn't like the high-end stuff, palm trees, bikinis, little drinks with umbrellas. That's one end. And then the other end is the Section 8 end, if you will. We like to focus on the workforce housing. We put deep, clean, decent, affordable housing in the market for police, firefighters, nurses, people who are downsizing. The economies and the state of real estate is it's in a really interesting position right now. If you know what moves to make, either you make them yourself or align yourself, like I've done my whole career with people who are doing bigger and better things. There's a lot of massive opportunities right now. So now we're in a development phase. We're building a 16-unit development right now in Rotunda. I got 106 units in Cape Coral that are just about coming to fruition. Some other development work on the other side of the state. So I'm moving and shaky, baby. I'm a grinder, and our investors get to come along and play with us. So that's one of the huge upsides. You get to impact retirement accounts and high net worth individuals getting a decent return on their money. So
yeah,
it's a lot.
I love it, man. So you guys are still developing, even with the interest rates as they're hitting, sevens in the sevens.
Yeah.
That hasn't slowed you down. You're still able to write deals, to pen deals.
Yeah, you got to be able to pivot and get creative. So the big thing I always hear is what's going on with the insurance costs, especially in Florida.
Yeah.
Right?
So I
with
mostly buy in
relationships,
Texas, and it's not as bad as Florida, but it's pretty bad.
Look, it's a case of what are your insurance relationships like? And what we've been able to do is bring multiple insurers to the table on one acquisition. So they're fractional. Imagine that. Whoever thought that they would come with fractional insurance would be a piece of the pie, which is always interesting. Yeah.
So are you saying you have multiple people insuring one property?
Yep.
and they're
Yeah.
just insuring
Yeah.
different aspects of that property.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't get into all the details. I just know
Huh.
that when I look at the bottom line, the deal works.
Yeah, the money
and the,
goes down.
and the
Huh.
policies are in place to execute. So
That's
fractional
interesting.
insurance, with regard to the interest rates, it is what it is.
Hmm.
It is what it is. The sellers are beginning to understand that they're not where they were 24 months ago, right?
Yeah.
They're beginning to understand that. So each transition I've seen in my career takes, 3 to 5 years to work through each of the four phases. And, we're coming on the back end now, I believe, of we're moving out of that seller's phase two into a buyer's phase one. And we're getting
Okay.
to that point where we're beginning to see some stabilization of pricing, some stabilization of cap rates. The silliness that was going on in the market with regard to the underwriting. It's been 10% increase in rents for the past 2 years. It's got to be the same for the next 20. It's all garbage, right?
Yeah.
So really conservative underwriting has served us well. And we've been able to be successful. Does a 9% interest rate on a $19 million loan hurt? Yeah, it hurts a lot. But that's what motivates you to move faster, right? Get out of there, get into perm, put some bridge on there. And the investors are still looking at targeted returns of 2x, 2.2, 2.8. It's aggressive in the development world.
Yeah.
On the repositioning world, a little bit different, smaller loan amounts, shorter time frames. So, it's deal by deal basis, brother. Deal by deal.
Now
That's the
that
way
you
to play.
have now that you have experience both on the development side as well as repositioning, is there one you prefer?
I like the returns on development.
Development, yeah.
I like the additional sleep on reposition.
Yeah, I was gonna say I've been tempted to go to
Yeah.
attempt development, but every time I look down that path, it always kind of scares me a little, just because the returns do sound great, but the uncertainty of all the different things that could go wrong. That's what.
That's I would say this, right? Don't let anybody tell you anything at that level is easy.
Mm.
For us, my partner, one of the managing partners at Freedom Venture, our investment firm, Walter Novicki, he's got 30 plus years in just that market, right?
Oh, wow.
30 plus years in Southwest Florida, developing, repositioning. So remember what I said earlier? If you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room, right?
There you go. Surround yourself with smart people and you'll raise to their level.
He's got to leverage, he's got to leverage something he didn't have, which was, the capital raising potential abilities that I bring to the table. So you find that synergy and then move forward from there. So it's fun.
Nice. I like it. All right. Well, I just took a peek at the clock. It looks like we have run it down. It's time to jump into the quick question round. Are you ready?
Yeah, sure.
Let's do it. Starts with education. It could be any form, could be a book, a conference that you went to, a mentorship program you're a part of, but I need 2 recommendations, one for general life wisdom and then one for real estate.
Yeah, Law of Attraction, one of my favorite books to refigure my brain. And the other one would be 7 Secrets of Success by Jack Canfield. Both of those were influential for me early on. They really gave me the ability to believe. I had to have some belief in execution. So those were spark points, ignition points for me. Yeah,
the Jack Canfield. I read that one a long time ago, but I just remember it was very. You feel good after it. It's a very inspiring, inspiring book.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, I got to hang out with him for a day too, so he's a cool guy.
Oh, that's awesome. Next question is for your younger self. So let's go back to the Dave who was just coming over to the U.S. when he was 20 years old. Go back to him, look him in the eye, give him one piece of advice moving forward.
Move faster. Go. Stop messing around.
There you go.
Prioritize, align, execute, go. For sure.
We keep kind of a running tally on the show of people who come on, and to that answer, they replied that they wish they got started sooner. So I'm going to put that in the same bucket and every time somebody says that, it's like 90% of the people that come on the show say that. And we've had over 500 episodes. But we always turn it back to the listener, you listening to this episode. This is a message directly to you. If you haven't gotten started yet in real estate, everybody that comes on the show say they wish they got started earlier. So go out there, get your first deal done. It doesn't have to be crazy. It doesn't have to be, a 100-unit multifamily development, anything like that. It could be just a single family. Just make sure you go out there and finish it and get that check in your hand, because then you'll know it can work. You'll know it can work for you. And 20 years later, you'll be in Dave's seat looking back and saying, man, I wish I got started sooner.
Yeah,
All
for
right.
sure.
So moving it on. And actually, I'm going to take an aside there. You never mentioned what brought you over from England to the US. Why did you make the trip?
Yeah, marriage. I was
Ah,
dating a girl from the States and her visa ran out.
there you go. That'll
I
do
wish I
it.
could tell you something more creative than that, but it is what it is.
No,
Yeah,
that marriage will do it.
yeah. I'm legal, by the way. I'm now a legal citizen, so it's all good.
Don't worry, we're not turning you in. All right.
Okay.
Next question is about the US. It's a big place. There's a lot of opportunity out there. Give me the single metro you're most excited about investing in today.
Yeah, great. Southwest Florida still. And the reason I like that metro area south of Tampa is that it's still the number one destination for the Northeast retiree, and every retiree brings 4 service jobs to support it. So the population growth continues year over year over year, and there's so much work to be done down there. I can't buy enough.
That's crazy. Yeah, I saw a graph, like an infographic that showed um, basically migration patterns, and
Yeah,
it was an infographic, so it looked cool. But
yeah,
Florida just looked like a mountain on this
yeah,
particular the way they displayed it, and I was just like, wow, that's crazy. Definitely, people are moving to
yeah,
Florida.
yeah.
All right, next question is about finding deals. It all starts with getting in contact with the seller and penning that purchase agreement. So, what is your favorite way to generate leads and find new deals?
Yeah, today it's all relationships. We don't need to market anymore. We're known as the guys who get it done in the marketplace. So ad deals come through an army of maybe 5, 10. That's not quite an army, is it? A small platoon of 5 or 10 commercial brokers that have the feet on the street. And then with my career up here in New England, I still get nods for single family deals, clean out guys who like to send me a property every now and again. So relationships, that's the best way to get deals today. I don't have a huge marketing expense on that end.
Nice. I love it. All right, next question is about lessons learned. Not every deal we get into goes the way that we expect it. In fact, a lot of times something goes wrong, and we get to learn a lesson. So, what was a deal that went a little sideways for you? And then what was the lesson you pulled from it?
Before we continue on with today's guest, I want to tell you guys about a community I'm launching on School to help investors like yourself grow your own portfolio. In this community, you'll get access to all the docs I use, all the systems I've built, everything I've used to grow my own portfolio, as well as instructions and guidance on how to get out there and find great deals, how to finance those deals, and then how to manage them for great returns. Since we're just launching it, the price will be set at a measly $20 per month, and whatever price you join at is the price you'll have for life. We will be increasing the price as the group grows, so if you're at all interested in growing your portfolio along other investors, now is the time to join. I will put the link somewhere in the bio or on our podcast website at therealestateinvestingclub.com, so if you are interested, head on over there. With that said, let's get back to the podcast.
If you ever get an email from me, my email tag says a yes or a no is more valuable than a maybe. And what I mean by that is that I could put this on every deal I've ever done, to the extent that just because somebody says yes, they might say yes in good faith. It doesn't always mean they're going to do it, whether that's fund a deal, sell a deal, look at a deal. So trust but verify was a phrase my old partner used to use. I mean, I don't need to go deal specific because there's so many of them, but trust but verify. People have to earn their kudos, whereas I used to always give people 100 and they'd lose points, and that just didn't work. So you got to earn it. You got to earn respect. You got to earn execution. You got to earn the truth. You got to earn the reputation. And if you can do that, you can get to be really successful in this business. So
Yeah.
that's how I'd address that one.
Yeah, I think that's a really good lesson. And it's not always, I think when you hear that piece of advice, usually you think, people are being devious or deceptive out there. And it's not always the case. Even sometimes people just genuinely won't have the right information, and they'll be giving
Sure.
it to you thinking that they're telling you the right
Sure.
thing,
Yeah.
and it's just not correct. So trust but
Yeah.
verify is a great piece of advice. That takes us to, sounds like something that's right in your wheelhouse. It does take money to make money in real estate. So what is your favorite way to raise capital?
That's where we spend our marketing dollars. So we have multiple online funnels in LinkedIn, any of the social platforms that will target high net worth individuals and accredited investors to raise capital for our deals. So I looked at my targets for 25 and I said, how am I gonna elevate the game and move it up a little bit? And there are probably millions of marketing companies out there that are going to promise you the world for $25,000 a month, right? You're number one here, number one there. We can qualify your leads, blah, 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 blah. And I played that game for a few years. And at the end of the game, I got kind of angry with it. I'm like, enough is enough.
Mm-hmm.
So when I stepped back and looked at it, what I did was instead of hiring a marketing company, I partnered with a marketing company.
Oh, okay.
And what that did is I've, from my time in the seminar world and the education space and everything I did off of the TV show, I got to know the true performers in online marketing, funnel generation, just people who can get in front of people that you want to talk to, who can find your avatar. And what I did was I bought that company in-house and I made them partners. And there's some nice revenue splits on any education that we bring to the market to create, interest from our investors. Because an educated investor always is a better partner. End of chat, right? So if I can educate them first, small dollar amount, maybe make them part of an exclusive group, like a golf course community, right? Why do people join the golf club? Because they want access.
Right.
So we do the same thing. And that marketing funnel alone brings the very, very best quality of clients to us that we can then serve to raise money. We've always got deals. Deals are never a problem. It's always bringing the right capital to that deal. And I emphasize the word right capital. Just because you've got money doesn't mean you can come in on our deals. You got to have the right, outlook and investing strategy and tolerance to be able to invest alongside us. So bringing that marketing company in-house has been a game changer.
That's interesting. I haven't heard of someone partnering with the marketing company, because I've also looked at, hiring marketing companies. I do most of the marketing in-house, but we've looked at partnering, but they charge an arm and a leg, and it's just like, I don't see how that can be worth it in terms of,
there's no KPIs there that I've been able to match. I'm like, really? Yeah, it gets painful too.
Yeah, and it is interesting,
really painful really quick.
Yeah, that you're I've heard from a lot of people that specifically for raising capital, the funnel model, doing online marketing to a funnel to a call, that model just doesn't work anymore. They can't get it to work. But it seems like you are having success in that model. Is there something?
Yeah.
I mean, I know this is kind of hard to pin down, but is there something that you can think of that that makes the model work for your team?
Yeah, and there's some secret sauce behind it. Okay. To be frank, and I understand less than 5% of it. But there are ways to identify and track people online today that, to be frank with you, are quite egregious. It's like, really, you can figure that much out.
And stuff,
like these guys are ninjas. These are the freaky deaky dudes who, sit in their basement till 3:00 in the morning writing code and doing stuff. And I'm like, I don't know what the heck you guys are doing, but you're bringing the right people in. Yeah, keep it up. If you think about the amount of platforms and groups and clubs and places that our avatars meet, we can visit those areas and tickle the right pain points so that people raise their hand in interest. And then if there isn't a great nurturing sequence to bring them along, either through education or just plain interaction, nobody's gonna invest with you if they don't know who you are, what your ethics are, what your strategy is, et cetera, et cetera. So, we've learned through trial and error to be able to, find them first of all, and they're out there in mass. I mean, there is so much capital, dry powder that we talk about out there. If I just get, 0.00001% of what's available, I'm going to have a pretty good day. You know what I mean? As are my investors. So That's how we do it. They do it through systematized approach, A/B testing, trial and error. Yeah, like you said, pixels. I mean, I hear pixel and I think of the cartoon company. That's all I got when it comes to pixels. But everybody leaves a footprint, and being able to have a right algorithm to attract those people and then bring them into your funnel. That's where we get our success. So it doesn't work. So don't try it. Everybody who's listening to me right now, stop it. Don't try it. It doesn't work. No, I'm about abundance rather than scarcity. It works, but it takes time. It takes trial and error.
Yeah.
And again, capital, but I bought them in-house. I partnered with them instead. So
yeah, makes sense. All right. That leads us to the very last question. This is for the listeners. I'm sure people want to reach out, get in contact with you. What is, this is a two-parter. Where can they find you? And then what is the best way they can reach out to you?
Yeah, two ways. I'm old school. I've got a phone number, 781-922-4418. Just let my team know that you heard us here. Or info, I-N-F-O, at freedomventure.com, freedomventure.com. And if you want to increase your education gradient, Google my name, Dave Seymour, against Legacy Alliance. Legacy Alliance. That's our partnership with the marketing company. And there's a lot of great things going on there right now. A lot of good stuff. Infinite banking strategies, secret clubs strategies, exclusive opportunities in the investing world. So that's a pretty exciting piece going into 25. So info at freedomventure.com, 781-922-4418. You want to go old school. And Legacy Alliance, Dave Seymour. Google my name against Legacy Alliance, and some info will pop up for you.
Perfect. I'll put that link in the show notes. So if you guys want to reach out, just click a little more in the description. It'll pull down that full description, and in there you can find Dave's link.
Awesome.
All right, man. That wraps it up. Thank you very much for hopping on the show.
Yeah, appreciate it, dude. We banged all that out in like 25 minutes. Not bad.
Yeah, we cut it close. Everybody who's with us today, thank you guys for showing up. You are the reason we do this. So if you guys have any questions, reach out to me, Gabe, at therealestateinvestingclub.com. If you guys want to support the show, just leave us a review on Apple or whatever you're listening to this on. Other than that, I hope you guys have a great week. Keep rocking real estate, and I look forward to seeing you on the next episode.
All right, before I officially sign off, I have a quick announcement to make. If you're interested in becoming a passive investor in one of my deals, my own company, Kaizen Properties, is looking for capital partners for our upcoming projects. We invest in what are known as recession-resistant assets, mainly self-storage facilities, mobile home and RV parks, and industrial properties. If you're interested in investing and would like to learn a little bit more about my company, our investing criteria, and some of the previous projects we've done, go to the Real Estate Investing Club podcast at therealestateinvestingclub.com and scroll all the way down to the bottom of the page. Click on the Invest With Us button. That'll pop up the investor form. Fill that out, and we will reach back out to you as soon as we can. Or if you prefer a little bit more of a personal touch, you can reach out to me at gabe@therealestateinvestingclub.com. So really, that is it. Again, it was a pleasure hanging out with you guys during this episode, and I look forward to seeing you on the next episode.